2 on the Fat Tyre Flyer. Now I left you off in part 1, we'd got the frame prepped and I put some polyester high build primer down. Now this was the first time that I used the polyester. I got recommended it by another subscriber who's a painter, and is an absolute game changer. It really is. I'm used to using MEPA 2K high build, and the build quality you get on a polyester primer is like loads better, and this stuff sets like stone when it goes off. So I'll give you a little pan round. So that's what we've done to the frame yesterday. We put all the polyester down on this. Now as you can see here, this is going to be the next stage. So if you're actually following the processes and painting a frame along with me at the minute, this is the next stage. So we're going to flat this primer down. Now this black on here is a guide coat. Now a guide coat is a visual aid. This is a powder version. You can get aerosol forms, and this helps you out when you're flatting down, whether it be fillers, primers, things like that. So we put the black guide coat on with the applicator, and that's just a powder, and you wipe it over your primer, and as you can see the textures in that primer there. So what that black's doing is sitting on all the low spots in that paint texture. So the next stage, what you do is you'll get your sandpaper, and then you are aiming to sand all these low spots, that black, till you go back to the white of the primer. Once you knock that back to white again, your primer is flat. If you're using blocks on flat edges, you would knock that back, and that would be lovely smooth and flat, and then you would go off, clean it down, and then you can move on to your next stage, which would be your base coats. So that's what that does. You can get this in the powder form, and you can get it in aerosol, or you can just use a black aerosol spray paint, like a matte, a satin, something like that, and you can just speckle it over the frame so you've got little dots, and then you just sand back till all the dots are gone, and then you know your primer is flat. So a simple process, does help. It's a lot easier than just sanding the panel and thinking that it's flat. Just gives you a nice visual aid to work from. So that's the first stage on this, is to get all this flatted down. So guide coat the whole frame up, and then sand this down. I've got other pieces to do as well. So I've got these pieces that I put in some polyester yesterday. I won't stick you in a time lapse on this. I'll just see you once this is all done, because this is going to create so much dust. So I might be doing this outside. If it's nice and dry still, I'll do this outside, be a lot easier. So I'll see you in the next step. I'll get all this sanded back, and then we can move on to some base coat, and I'll take you through the stages of that. See you in a bit. Right guys, we've got all the prep done. So I sanded the frame down in a 320 disc, and then went in with a soft foam sponge, and that would have been like an 800 or a 1000 grit, and went round all the welds and just pushed it into the welds and cleaned all that up. But this polyester high build primer is incredible to sand down. It sands down to like a glass finish, really, really easy. A lot easier than 2K high build primer. It really is. You just get a better finish out of it when you're sanding it down. And it's a lot faster to prep up as well. You can just knock it back really quick and you get a cracking finish. So we are all good to go on the frame. That's all sanded down. I've got the other pieces that I needed doing. They're all good to go as well. So the spray gun that I'm going to use for the base coat is going to be a mini jet gun, which is a smaller version than a bigger gun. Nice little fan pattern on this one. It's the Water Impact Junior with a 1mm tip size on it, so we can get around all these intricate parts. So the next stage to do is clean this frame down, blow it all off, just give the studio a clean out. We'll tack rag this off and panel wipe it down, and we'll drop some base coat on. So I'll see you in the next step. Right guys, we are all set up and ready to go. I've bagged the forks up, so I've got the legs showing, so they're the bits we need to paint. When you're doing things like threads on, say, forks, where you've got the brake mount at the bottom and you don't want to get any excess paint into the threads, just roll some masking tape up, stick it over itself, roll it up, and just twist it into the thread. and that will stop any build-up of paint going down into them bits where you don't need extra paint, because then you can't get them little screws in and things like that. Same on this, just twist it round and then feed it into the hole. So we've got them blocked off, all masked up, good to go. I've got the battery masked underneath and all the other bits are masked. That's been panel wiped down, that's good to go. So that's the first thing we're going to do first, is get some plastic primer down on that. Then I can put some base coat. We've got 2 base coat colours to drop down. I've got a grey metallic, like a greeny grey metallic, and we're doing a silver on the frame, the forks and the battery, and a kickstand in silver, and them 2 pieces are going in this grey metallic. So first off, plastic primer. I've got the PS290. We're going to put the Standox plastic primer down with that on the battery, stick it on the tripod, and we'll crack on. See you in a bit. We are done. We've got all the base coat complete. In that time lapse you see me start off, I put some plastic primer down on the battery, a couple of coats of Standox plastic primer just to give it a coat so the base coat would adhere to it. You have to put like a plastic primer down on any plastics, guys. Just don't hit it with your solvent straight away, it won't go to it. So plastic primer recommended. We moved on to the silver. I've done the forks, so the legs, nice coat all the way around. And this is a really nice silver. Took quite a bit to get a bit of coverage, took a few coats, but we got there, and there's the frame all looking nice. So that's the base coat down. We're going to work on the next episode, we're going to do textures. The airbrushing is going to start getting into play on this on the next one. And on the battery, there's all airbrush work to do on that, and logos on the forks. So that is the process, guys. Nice finish. You could clear coat that now and just have it as a silver frame, not a problem, but we're going to be doing the textures and adding bits to this. But it's gone down really well. That was with the Iwata Impact Junior. It's not got a really big fan pattern on it, and it's perfect for doing things like this. I'll be using that one for clear coating the frame as well when it's completed. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video on the second part of the Fat Tyre Flyer. And I hope you can join me in the next one when we start moving on to text and things on the forks, textures, all the airbrush work on the frame and the battery, and that'll be in the next one. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe, press that notification, and I'll see you in the next part. Cheers, guys.